Okay, I guess we're live. If you're out there, please go ahead and say hi so I know who I'm talking to. And I have a little agenda tonight, and you guys can override my agenda. So let's take a look and see who we've got. Oh, I scared people away. Hey, Julie, good to see you. We had 3 people, and now we only have 1. Oh my gosh, it says we have 0. Are you still out there, Julie? Hey, Richard, good to see you too. Okay, so here's my agenda. It's very, very general. The first thing is setting animals up for success. The second thing is things you can do to fix general arousal. The third thing is separation anxiety. And the fourth thing is fireworks. So, if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and pop them in there. But it's just me today, so I'll do my best to try to monitor things and keep up. Okay, so what I wonder is, can you guys actually talk on this also? I guess not. I guess you can just chat. But I am checking. Oh, great, guys. We can give emojis. In fact, when I try to see what you can do, the emojis pop up and I can't do anything else. All right. So let's talk about the setup. And you guys are going to know the first and foremost thing that you can do to help animals get smoothly through the holidays. Anybody want to venture it? There's 2 things that might be about equal, but one of the things is my most favorite. Okay, so trying to pull it out. Anybody want to go for it? Okay, first thing for me is name and explain. The second thing would be the use of crates. Richard says, give them a massage. But with name and explain, you can remove the uncertainty from the situation. So what is that? If you're not familiar with SATs, you may be going, what? But I'm going to tell you that every certified trainer will say to me that this is the most bang for your buck. And anybody can do it. You don't have to be certified in SATs. It doesn't take any training skills. It's just mindfulness. And so what you do is you're going to narrate things as you go that explain to the animal what's happening around him. And an important thing, so it's going to have 2 aspects. One aspect is going to be, okay, we're going to go out in the car. So I'm going to put your lead on you, and we're going to walk out the front door. Here we go. This is the front door. Now you see the car out there, etc., etc. The second thing, and this will really pay you dividends, tell them ahead of time what to expect. So if people are coming, rather than telling them as the person knocks on the door, oh, someone's here, tell them somebody is going to come here and they will knock on the door. So you will probably be amazed at how many problems that will allay right there. Okay. Now, guys, I'm peering into the dang computer because I'm trying to make sure I keep track of the time. And this gives you a chance to say hi if you haven't said hi already. Hey, Denise, good to see you. It's 28 degrees tonight. So we've got all the horses all snuggied up. Okay, so you're going to tell the animals what's going to happen. You're going to tell them ahead of time. Now, If you haven't already taught them vocabulary, that's okay. Explain it anyway. If you go to a foreign country, you will learn a lot of the language just by seeing what happens and what words are used with that particular thing. So I used to love to go to the grocery store. Restaurant was my second choice, but any store, because the store had labels that were in the native language. And then in addition, I could see what it was. It was like a three-dimensional dictionary. And your animals will apply the same thing. Okay, so let me see what Julie says here. Was having trouble sending a message. So if anybody else has trouble with a message, please let me know and I'll try to learn more about that for next time. Okay, so you tell them ahead of time, build the vocabulary as you go, and you may wonder exactly how this works because it's not about, explaining theology to the animals or anything like that. It's about giving them relevant information. So, okay, we're going to have people here. You need to be easy. We teach all of our animals to be easy. That's a thing for them. People are going to come. They're going to knock on the door. I'll let them in. They're going to be here for several hours. You're going to be in this room in your crate, and I'd like you to stay easy. Thanks very much. What a great dog. And then maybe later on, you come in with a Kong with some goodies in it. And you might say, hey, we've got 5 people here. And you're being great. And it's going to go on for another 2 hours, etc. And, these little things, these little pieces of information we give the animals can really help them because the dog's going to smell all these people. He's going to know how many people came in. And so now we can confirm it for them. And again, that relieves the uncertainty and it helps them know, okay, I did understand what she was saying. I knew there were people coming. And yes, there were 5. There were 7, right? I got my numbers mixed up. That's the kind of good teacher I am. Okay. I mentioned crates. And crates are so helpful for things like this. And you can always put a sheet over a crate. And you can turn the lights off in the room to help the animal just feel quiet and able to think. Constant arousal is not good for anybody, at least of all for your animals. So it's better to remove them from the action and let them just relax. So that's also very easy. Now let's think if there's any problems with that. Well, if your dog doesn't know how to be in a crate, that could be an issue. And so you probably want to take that on before you start having everybody arrive at your house. But you know what? A lot of owners have bad feelings about crates. So I want to tell you a crate story. It's a great story, but it's also a crate story. And the situation is that my husband had a dog that had never been in a crate before. And the other people in the family felt sorry for my dogs because they all stayed in crates. And at the time, I had 4 or 5 dogs. And they actually even stayed outside in their own separate area. But it was fine for my husband's dog to be in the house. I didn't mind at all. So one of his children was visiting and asked, can I take my dog in the car? And I said, sure. And they went to take their dog in the car and the dog wouldn't go with them. Can I bring my dog inside to sleep with me? Yep. Dog would not come inside. I told you he could sleep inside, but what had happened is he didn't want to sleep inside. And so I had crates set up, and I even had a monkey, and her cage was 6 feet tall. And when she passed, I put a floor in the middle, and that was housing for 2 dogs. So the husky would jump right up to the top level, and Callista, Kia, and then Callista on the bottom. And this other dog was named Shadow. He started running into the crate to get there before Callista got there because he wanted the crate. And he started requesting to stay outside with all the other dogs. So pretty soon we got him his own crate. He got to stay outside. Wasn't an issue for me. I want him to be wherever he's happy. But all the dogs really liked each other. So I guess he had a strong opinion about it. Over and over and over again, I'll work with clients that don't want their dog to have to stay in a crate. They don't want their dog to have to stay in a crate. They tell me stories about how their dogs won't go in crates, how their dogs don't like crates. They wouldn't like crates. Their dog doesn't deserve to be treated that way. And then they have to deal with it when the dog goes into the crate, loves it, and requests to stay. You think about it. Don't you like having your own area, like your own bedroom, your own office? That's what a crate can be for a dog. Some place where he can always go and be by himself and not have to worry about like kids coming up on him, that kind of thing. Any comments or questions about that?
I didn't hear you say that, I think.
Okay.
Before.
So the next thing is on setting animals up for success, do some conditioned relaxation. Teach them what easy is. Teach them what relaxation is. Use those words and teach them to relax and understand that. And it doesn't take very long usually. Every once in a while, we get a dog that takes 2 or 3 hours to learn this. But most of them learn it. They master it pretty quickly, but they get the idea within 2 minutes. For example, somebody was questioning if a dog could possibly learn this kind of thing in a busy setting, like Christmas party or when you're out at the park or something like that. So I said, yeah, they can, but let me just see. I like to actually observe things and, see. Like, I know my impression, but let's see what it actually is. So how long do you think it takes a dog to really relax? And while you're thinking of that, to write it in, I'll say, Julie said, dogs like having a den. Gosh, Julie, I think these glad. You know what? I think it's partially the way they make the type here. Anyway, yeah, they like having a den, and she says her dogs often chose to go into their crates. And Julie should know, when I met Julie at her house, she had 13 dogs at once. And these were not little easy dogs. These were a bunch of protection trained Dobermans, and she had additional dogs outside, livestock guardians, and so on. And Richard says, I think some dogs love it. Yoda has surprised me how calm he was when when a kitten strolled up by his crate. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's almost like they don't have to relax or they don't have to respond. So one of the trainers in our class that we just finished was saying that she gave her dog a choice. You can be easy out here with us, or you can go in your crate. And the dog chose to go in her crate. All right. All right. So now for general setup, we have name and explain, crate. Oh, and let me go back. Name and explain, name ahead. of what's going to happen. So you explain what is happening, but you also explain what will happen. And then we said, great. And is that as far as I've taken us? Okay, let's fix that. So the next thing is, oh no, then I said condition relaxation. Before an animal can relax, they have to know what it is, right? They may need help getting there initially. And we can do that for them. We can use some body work and get them really relaxing. And then the last thing I'm going to bring up here is bridging. Bridging, some people are going to say. It's so great. It works so well and so quickly. So let's do it together. It's no big deal. In fact, last time I was in the UK, one of the SATS trainers said, oh, I can't get anyone to bridge because, we're Brits and we don't want to look dumb. And I'm thinking, the people that gave us Monty Python don't want to look dumb? Okay. So I was with her class and she had asked me to just go ahead and explain it. She wanted to see how, whether or not I was successful engaging people in doing this. And I just said, okay, here's how it works. And you tell the dog what to do. Okay, this is literally how it works, folks. You tell the dog what to do and you just start using it. Now, we can condition it ahead of time, and that takes all of about 30 seconds. But we found that whether you condition it or not, the animals pick up on it very quickly. And guess what? It seems to be inherently reinforcing. In other words, I'll start bridging and I'll get reports that dogs all over the internet realm, all over cyberland, will stand up, come over to the computer, listen, wag their tails, and they've never been exposed to it. I had that experience when I visited the lab of Dr. Daniel Mills, and I was explaining about bridging. And some of the people that helped with research had brought their dogs, and they were all listening. And when I started to demonstrate the intermediate bridge, all of a sudden, there were 5 or 6 dogs right in front of me, wagging their tail and looking expectantly. And the thing is, I don't think they'd ever heard an intermediate bridge before. So what's an intermediate bridge? Maybe you're asking. Well, the terminal bridge is a marker that tells the animal that he's achieved a milestone. Now, in some divisions of training, they try to make it a signal that ends the behavior. And I find that very limiting. So I don't want to go into that more now, but I will say that you can define a signal as it works best for you. And I work a lot with complicated behaviors that take sustained effort. Like, let's say you want an animal to walk a tightrope and it's 20 feet long. He gets up on the tightrope, he starts to walk, and maybe you want to say, maybe getting up on the tightrope was a tough thing. So you want to mark it because he's been successful. So he gets up, good, as he continues. So the good is a terminal bridge, and the good. My dog's walking by. Good boy. How are you doing? Yeah, you know that. He's black. He's right here. You see him? Proof that my dog is here. Good boy. See you later, bud. So you can then further encourage them with the intermediate bridge. And the intermediate bridge says you didn't make this milestone yet, but you're headed in the right direction. If you continue this way, you're going to be successful. Okay, we've got another comment. Hi, Kayce. I just came in from taking the dogs out and I heard your voice, but it wasn't the video that I had paused. Okay, Canine Essentials, explain further. Oh, Ike, how are you? That's so funny. Well, now you have to explain that. I don't understand what it means to pause the video. And we have one other person that hasn't said hi yet. So have mercy on me. It's great that we've got a small group because the last time I did this, it was traumatizing. I don't know what happened, but I did a Facebook Live and I've never done one since because it came on the Facebook group and I had some corny hat and a big mustache that somehow clinged to my face no matter how I moved. I was training horses. It was like, what? And I asked Jamie Dolan, who was helping me at the time, why did you put a mustache and a beard on me? And he's like, I didn't. I'm like, well, how did it get there? So it was like obviously a risky endeavor to do a live. But so far as I can see, I don't have any mustaches yet. So far, so good. Okay. So anybody want to bring up other things? Like what are you telling your customers to do to set dogs up for success for Christmas and the holidays? Yes. Man, I wish we could do this like a class where we could all just talk. Maybe we should do a webinar, an interactive webinar, and then we could all just talk and we could do something that was oriented for professionals so that you guys could turn around and take this to your clients directly because I know most of you don't need this. Okay. So just to review, here are the 4 things we have to set the animals up for success. Name and explain, crates, condition relaxation, and bridging. Tell them to watch for Christmas trees? You got to explain further, Richard. Tell them the dogs. And why do they have to watch for? Oh, do you mean teach them to stay away from the Christmas tree? Like don't chew on it or play in it? I'll tell you what. I put my Christmas tree up where the dog won't accidentally bump into it. My dog is a really good guy, but he just loves to hit things with his tail. I don't think it's a neutral. I think he really likes it. And so I just kind of got rid of that problem by putting the tree up. It's a little tree, which is even better. It's faster to decorate and everything else. Okay, the next thing, general arousal. Okay, so Julie says, don't pee on it and don't let cats climb on it. Okay, so Julie, how would you enforce that with cats? How would you set that up to happen well? Because you have to be really careful. Anytime you create a situation where the animal can have more excitement by doing the wrong thing, it can make it kind of not irreversible, irresistible. My mom has a cat, and my dog doesn't really know this cat, and we don't allow him to interact with it directly. So the cat will come like she's going to creep by Rocky, right? Her name is Silky. Silky and Rocky. We're a texture house, I guess. So she's like looking like this. And if Rocky's just doing his own thing, she'll just wait. And she just keeps looking like, come on, come on. And then all of a sudden he'll look and she'll go like this. That kind of triggers him, right? And then he gets like this. And then she goes and skitters past him. And he goes, and this is the deal. They like to do this. So I find that if I yell at them, they just do it more frequently. So we can do cycles with this. It actually rarely happens because cat can walk by 100 times and he won't bark at all. But it's almost like she's disappointed. Okay. So Julie says, I've not had cats around a Christmas tree. Yeah, that could be a good thing. But you know what? I had cats for years and I did have a Christmas tree and I didn't have any problems with it. But I realized I was probably fortunate because, well, cats are just like this. They like to just push things off of tables to see how will you react. Was that painful, Kayce? Should I do it again? And I saw this brilliant cartoon on the internet, and somebody said they were being interviewed for a job with cats. And the guy, the interviewer says, how do we know you're a cat person? And the guy said he just reached up and pushed the guy's stuff off his desk, right? Like that. And the guy goes, oh, brilliant, and hired him. Okay. So here are some things you could consider trying. Scents that cats don't like. And I know that scat from the zoo animals was in big demand from gardeners because they would put lion urine and lion scat around their garden, and they swore by it. They said it would really keep the deer out of their gardens. So you could try something like that with cats. Okay, so let's talk about general arousal. And we all know this, guys. Everybody so far here is a SATS trainer. So what's going to be step number 1? You're going to, for arousal, you're going to name and explain everything, right? You're going to use bridges. You're going to teach them conditioned relaxation because they have to learn how to relax before you can hold them responsible for it. And if you are not familiar with perception modification, it's a way of empowering animals to cope with stress and manage their emotions. So the first thing we do is teach them how to relax themselves. And there's 5 milestones in that. And the first milestone is they have to know they have a mental state. The second one is they have to know they have more than one, to know that they can move between those two. And, oh, come on, guys, I just lost count. Okay, all right, I can do this. I can do this. Okay, first milestone is you've got a mental state. Next one is you've got more than one. Third one is you can move between them. Fourth is you have to learn how to move between them. And fifth, you need to learn to choose the appropriate state. And this is amazing because if we let these animals study their own arousal, they will inevitably choose to walk away from arousal. It takes a while. It takes a while. It's not the first milestone, it's the 5th milestone. But here's what you get when you do that. You get an animal that becomes self-managing. Okay, here's Julie. Cycles, distance, difficulty, direction, and duration. Those are 5 excellent tools. So you may wonder what they all refer to. I said we teach conditioned relaxation first. And then we teach the animals to apply their relaxation skills to the job of reprogramming their triggers. So they're going to have to stay calm in spite of something else exciting going on around them. And as that process of staying calm while the trigger comes in and out, that is a cycle. And there's a lot more to it, believe me, but just to familiarize you with the idea. And then distance, direction, and duration are parameters on a cycle. So let's say your animal was able to wait on request. Well, how long can he wait? And how do you know? So the first duration might be for 1 instant, and then for 2 instants, and then for longer and longer and longer until you know exactly how long this animal can wait for and is willing. You do the same thing with distances, with the direction, and with the difficulty of the steps. Okay, so for general arousal, you want to get in there as soon as possible and teach this animal how to relax and make him aware of what relaxation is made of. And here's a pro tip if you don't remember it from before or if you haven't seen it. There are two muscles that really seem to hold tension for dogs. And those muscles are the gracilis and the pectineus. I'll let you look that up. Okay. So for general arousal also, get the animal distance from all the festivities. So if you've had a chance to really teach him to cope with this stuff, great. You can allow him to come in for short durations. And what you want to do is you want to carve out just enough to be a fun and interesting challenge. And then get him back to crate land to relax. Because he can be so, so good and then all of a sudden lose his ability to continue to make the right choices. So your skill is called in. Do you really know your animals? Because if you do, you will not stretch them too long. You stretch an animal too long, it's like stretching a rubber band. Nobody needs that. Okay. So teaching the animals ahead of time is all about teaching them relaxation skills, teaching them consciously what this is made of, giving them opportunities to work on these skills and to observe the effects of dopamine and all this, and then doing cycles with the things that are going to be a challenge for them. Now, guys, this is a complicated thing. I'm trying to give you as much practical information as I can so you'll be ready to go and actually go forward on your own. But there's a reason that the certification course is 20 weeks long. Okay, it's 10 full weeks on condition relaxation and 10 full weeks on cycles. And we use every bit of it. Okay, but it is so powerful and people love it. The class before this one, we filled it up and the marketing information said, well, 85% of people that buy a class never even open it. Okay, all right. So there were only 10 people that we allowed in the class because we spent a lot of time together. And we thought, well, we'll be lucky if 3 people show up at the first class if people don't open it. Well, we had 10 people. It said 95% of people do not complete the class. We had, out of 10 people, 90% completed the class, and the person that didn't complete the class did everything up to the last class. And then 7 of those people went on to the next class, even though several of them were pet owners, not professional trainers. It's really interesting and it's so empowering. It's not a quote unquote sexy kind of training. It's not powerful and fast and flashy and all that. It's like watching paint dry or grass grow. But what's really beautiful about it is it's not about what the dog shows off about you. It's about the dog's chances for a good future. Because these dogs just blossom right in front of our eyes. And that is a really beautiful thing to be part of. Okay, so now let's talk about separation anxiety. I hear so much about this. And for us, it's just another training situation. So when I say it's another training situation, with perception modification, we expect a problem to be lots of progress on solving it, maybe completely solved within about 15 hours of training time. That number comes from two sources. One is I did years and years and years where I did 3-day seminars, and the animal would get a maximum of 5 hours a day of work, and they would make amazing progress in 3 seminar days. So there you go. But in addition, Wood Green Animal Shelters had 29 animals that were going to be euthanized because they had behavioral problems that they simply couldn't responsibly put in a home. The problems were severe enough they could not home the animal that had those behaviors. So one of the newly certified trainers went to Wood Green and said, can we try this, being SATs, on these animals? Wood Green gave them 2 weeks, and 27 of the animals corrected their problem and learned their on and offline obedience in those 2 weeks, and they got put up for adoption. Well, what about the last 2 animals? A horse that also had to learn to get his feet trimmed and to get into a trailer, and this horse had been so mean that the people that took care of it didn't want to have anything to do with fixing it. So this dog trainer, Annette Harwood, shout out to you, outstanding trainer. And so she took it on, and there was a dog that was a bull terrier and an obsessive compulsive tail chaser. So they'd done really well, but they just weren't finished. Another 2 weeks, they both solved their problems, did all their on and off lead obedience, stopped their tail chasing, became self-managing on their tail chasing, learned to go in the horse trailer, the whole bit, got put up for adoption. Both of those were adopted. Everybody got adopted within 1 week. 2 years passed. Not a single animal was returned. I'm dying of suspense. Will you please call them? Can we know for sure what happened? Every animal was successfully in its new home 2 years later. And a year and a half ago, I talked to the horse owners, and it's been 15 years now, and the horse is going strong. Now, what's another really wonderful thing about this experience is that the people that provided homes for these 29 impossible animals had no idea what we did to solve the problems. And this is something I hear all the time from professionals. The dog is deteriorating now that it's back at home. The owners are not doing their homework. I get the frustration, but the owners never wanted to be professional trainers. That's why they hire us. The fact that they're not good trainers is job security for us. So what we need is to teach the animals to the point where they become self-managing. It makes all the difference in the world. And that's what we had done at Wood Green. Those animals were self-managing, and when they went into the new homes, the owners were not required to do anything at all. And we find that over and over and over again. Okay, let me check the time because, yeah, we have about 8 more minutes. I'm not sure what they do. I don't know if they cut you off on this or if, you just tell people when you're going to go. Okay, so with separation anxiety, we treat it just like another cycle. The trigger is you leaving. So you teach the animal condition relaxation, and you explain everything that's going on, and then you're going to do cycles, but you're going to start next to the dog, and your cycles are going to go away from the dog and then back to them. Now we have the mini version of how to deal with condition relaxation is in the write-up for teaching a dog to wait while you walk away from it. And that's in SATS and the Family Dog. So if you're looking for more detail or detail that you can have in front of you while you're working, that manual's available and you can get it there. Okay, so separation anxiety, you teach the same skills. The perception modifications tools are all the same. Name and explain, bridges, targets, condition relaxation, cycles. Okay? And with that, you can solve everything that is emotionally oriented. Can we solve it for every single dog? Over 97% of the difficult dogs that find us can change their behavior with the help of this tool. But there's going to be some dogs that have physiological issues and everything. But even a lot of those become better. Okay, so separation anxiety. Get started now. Be systematic. And there's so much you can do. Richard, how is it going in your household with this? Because you made excellent progress. Now I have to peer into the chat. Are you still there, Richard? It could be that I put him to sleep. Well, anyway, his dog was from a rescue situation and started out very, very anxious. Okay. He's much better, but not 100%. How much would you estimate he is? We put our people under pressure. Okay, so kudos to Richard because he's not a professional trainer. He's a dedicated pet owner and he really cares about his dog. And so he signed up for the class for the professional trainers because he needed to find out how to help his dog. And he's done really, really well. Okay, we're going to have to go on and wonder about how much better Yoda is. But I saw Richard's trials. In fact, I helped him. We're doing a lot more actual training over the internet. So it's been very effective and a lot of fun. A lot of fun for me, right? Because I have to sit here in desk land. Okay. Oh, Richard said slow mode is on, so we can only do one message a minute. Oh, I'll change that for next time. They made it sound like if I didn't put you guys on slow mode, I wouldn't be able to keep up. Not that it's their fault. Okay, so let's move on to the last thing, which is fireworks. Fireworks. What would be the first thing we do? Name and explain, bridges, condition relaxation, and then we're going to go someplace where they can actually see fireworks. You don't have to be right under them. You just have to be where the animal can see them and you can talk to them about what's happening and so on and so forth. And generally, a single session is enough. And I don't know yet how to share screen on this setup. So I'll look into that for next time because I've got a video. I've got several videos of fireworks and animals. They're not very good, right? Because they're taken in the dark and you're crawling over other people standing on the beach, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact is that most of the time the animal will make really good progress. And for example, my horses came home, and this was the first time last 4th of July that we had seen fireworks together. After a couple of explanations, they were fine. And you can see that video at youtube.com/c/Kayce Cover. Now, there's one other thing that we do for fireworks, but it's a little trickier to explain. And that is in the 1, 2, 3, 4 boom class. So that's a little standalone class that you can use to study and work with your dogs. And it's amazing how quickly things come together for us and for the animals. And like I said, once I go through this training, I've never had to do it again. So I don't really expect training to be that fast and that easy. I have a big long list of steps that I'm going to go through for proofing. I'm very big on proofing, and we all should be. But really, the problem is usually already solved. Okay, yay, Richard. He says he's about 85% better. So that's excellent. Richard started in July. He's not a professional. And his dog was from a rescue, and he's learning at the same time as the dog. And whenever I read about separation anxiety or any of these things, but especially separation anxiety, people will say, I remember one person who was considered an expert said, oh, and these poor owners with separation anxiety, they're going to go through months and months and maybe years of suffering. It was as if whatever you did was just kind of like you're going to erode mineral by dripping water on it. And it really can be so much faster. For me, working with the animals, it's the same 15 hours. Okay, guys, that's what I brought to the table tonight. What else would you like to talk about? We have a few more minutes. Well, actually, it said it was going to cut off at 9 o'clock. It is 9 o'clock. So let's see if they'll let us go just a couple of minutes longer. If you guys have any questions or comments, I love it when you just bring up your own experiences. Anybody? So what we're going to do with this is just make it available for people to see, just as, maybe help people get through the holidays. It can be so much easier than many people describe it as being. Okay, we don't have any questions or comments yet. So last call for questions and comments. I'm looking at all the little buttons to make sure I didn't leave anything out. I get to go to bed early. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming and spending time with me. I really appreciate it. So nice to be amongst friends. Y'all take care and have great holidays. Sending love. Bye-bye.